So, Google claims that Apple's practices of using the blue bubble to highlight other Apple users in their iMessaging app is a way of peer pressuring and bullying Android users to switch over to Apple. Apple says, hey, the problem can be easily fixed if people stop being dumb and poor. This is Epic Thoughts. Hey, don't be offended. I have an Android too. I don't go to Apple. I got Android too. My computer is because it was provided to me through school, so I have an Apple computer, but everything else is not Apple, I promise. Welcome to another episode of Epic Thoughts. Yo, thanks for coming and joining me today on this wonderful day and keeping me company because I'm all alone again, and that's fine. Sometimes you just gotta be comfortable doing things on your own. But I'm so happy that you're joining me here today. There's so much things I want to discuss. There's a lot of things to talk about. Thanks for joining on. Thanks for logging on. Thanks for watching wherever you are. I appreciate all the support and get your Epic Thoughts t-shirts. Yo, I have so much to discuss, man. I I, I wasn't going to do a show. My guest canceled on me, so that was gonna be. I almost took that as, oh well, don't do the show. Your guest canceled, but I felt like I needed to do it. One, because consistency is a big thing, and I think people need to learn to be consistent. Consistency is cool and is great, but sometimes you gotta learn to be consistent. I'm consistent in some areas, and other areas I'm just not consistent. I'm just gonna put it out there right now so the whole world can know. I'm not very consistent when it comes to my health, and I should be. I definitely should be. I've lost many pounds, and I've gained a lot of pounds, and I've lost and I gain. I'm the Luther Vandross of this generation. This is what I am. And that's not really fun to say, considering how Luther Vandross passed away from health issues. This is not, this is the one area that I struggle to be consistent in. And I know people are like, you're wondering, like, why are you telling us this now? Well, I think I need to tell you this now because sometimes you got to put yourself out there to really challenge yourself to grow and be strong in certain areas. And I feel like to be consistent in this area is very important. And I'm going to do it. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet, not have to bite the bullet. I'm going to do what I have to do to live the life that I want to live. And I think you should too. And to do that, to take some consistency. So, with that being said, I had a chance to not do the show today, but I decided to do the show because one, there's some things I want to get out there, share, and I'm starting to learn through a couple of your emails and a couple of messages I've received from some of you that some of you actually look for this, so that's pretty cool. So I want to continue to get put out good content, and so here we are. Here we go. So there's so many things. I got three major things I want to talk to you about today. Three major things. We're going to start with the simplest one first. So this weekend was the NFC and AFC Championship. If you don't follow sports too much, I'll just make it very simple. There were four teams left in the NFL playoffs. There was four teams left to decide who's the champion of the NFL season, and it was the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Los Angeles Rams, and the San Francisco 49ers. So, anyways, those four teams were playing each other on Sunday to determine which two teams play for the Super Bowl. Now, again, people are like, "Why?" I know that, but there's always somebody who doesn't know football, so you just kind of share it out. So the games on Sunday were important because those are the games that recognize who goes into the Super Bowl. Well, I live in beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful, sunny California. I love it. I'm still very passionate about California. I love sunny Southern California just as much. So this story hits home, but on a different level. So basically, if you don't know, we're in 2022. Like most of the country has minimal, lighthearted, kind of loosey COVID mandates. California still has a pretty strong one, and we have pretty strong mask mandates. And so our game was in Los Angeles, actually Inglewood to be more precise, but it's considered LA, so they're going to call it LA. So LA County has a very strong mask mandate. So in LA, any place you go, you have to wear a mask. And for football, basketball, any large venue, including amusement parks. So, not necessarily Disneyland because that's not LA County, but like Universal Studios or Magic Six Flags Magic Mountain, places like that, you have to be vaccinated to get in the door, or you have to have I think it's 72-hour COVID. You have to have a COVID test that proves that you were negative within the last 72 hours of your being there. Okay, so that's context. So here's where we go. Um, so because it's LA, we're the Mecca. We have a lot of, there's New York and then there's LA when it comes to like Hollywood's Mecca, where the famous gather. So at a game like the Rams and the 49ers, Hollywood's going to show up. So Magic Johnson's there. Um, a whole lot of celebrities were there. Actually, they showed it on when I was watching the game. They had Leonardo DiCaprio was there. So there's a lot of celebrities at the game. Anyways, Magic Johnson was at the game and he took a picture with our governor of our state of California, Governor Gavin Newsom. And they took a picture, and in the picture, and along with him, there was another picture with our mayor of Los Angeles, Mayor Garcetti, and some other politicians. And in all the pictures, nobody's wearing masks. And so, of course, the social media ninjas is what I like to call them now. Social media ninjas is all on it, going all off on like he's breaking his own mandates, and our kids still have to go to school. And yes, our kids still in our state, the kids gotta go to school with masks on. It sucks. It does. I'm not gonna say that the mandates don't stink. The mandates suck, and we are supposed to be in high mandate for at least another 15 days. So in California, we're supposed to be in mandate until the 15th of February. I personally don't see it loosening, and that's my opinion of it. So now people are like losing their minds. I got people posting pictures who don't even live in California anymore, posting this nonsense. Um, Listen, I love you guys, man. I want you guys to have a much better life than the life that many people have. I want you to be happy. I want you to be healthy. It's got to get to the point where you got to say, yo, this is not helping my mental life at all. Right. So now we're going to be mad because Gavin Newsom doesn't follow his own policies. Well, Gavin Newsom hasn't followed his policies since Gavin Newsom made policies. I'm just, what I'm saying, like in 2020, he was in Napa at restaurants when restaurants supposed to be closed. He sends his kids go to a private school. His kids went to camp where they didn't wear masks. So he doesn't follow his own mandates, and I mean, it's awful, right? It stinks, but there's no need to keep stressing yourself about it. Like us being arguing about it, being mad about it, yada yada yada. It's just a bad look for yourself, and you're not helping the situation any like it is. Like I find it funny how I I find it funny how in today's time people think it's amusing when they find out that our politicians lie. Like I don't understand why you find that amusing. You shouldn't find that amusing because politicians always lie. That's what they do. Politicians lie. So so when you see this, and it was hilarious yesterday, Monday. He had to go and do he did I don't know what he did. He was talking to the press at some location, and he brought up the picture. Gavin Newsom did, our wonderful governor of California, Gavin Newsom, and he pulled out his mask. He goes, "I always have my mask. It's always in my back pocket," and I took it off to take a picture. I'm neither one. I don't care. I don't care. When I saw the story, I was like, "This is a dumb story to have." Like, and it was all in the news. Like, and it's not just people on social media; it was all over the news. People were like, "Oh, did you see Gavin Newsom took his mask off to take a picture of Magic Johnson?" If I had an opportunity, and I'm not Governor Newsom, Governor, I'm not the governor, Gavin Newsom, but if I had the opportunity to take a picture of Magic Johnson, my mask coming off. Okay, it's just coming off. And then he said that he has masked the whole game, and he took it off to take a picture of Magic Johnson, and then of course. A camera showed up, a video showed up of him watching the game without his mask. So then that came out that was a lie. And it made me laugh because it was like, there's no need to lie now. Like, there's no need to lie, especially in this day. There's cameras everywhere. Just don't lie about it. But the funny thing is that people find it still entertaining and puzzling that politicians lie to us. And I'm just like, I'm confused why you're confused. I'm puzzled why you're puzzled. There's got to be a point where you go, that's what they do. Like I thought that was the gag. Maybe me and like seven other people, seven of my friends are the only people that know that hey, politicians are not worth the weight of anything they tell you. Like you can't trust a word they say. Maybe I'm just being way too skeptical about it, and maybe I should have trust in my my elected officials, but I don't. Never did. And so I don't understand why you did or why you're upset that he's lying. Now, this is a great lesson for leadership, though. This is a great lesson for leadership. Um, we know what bad leadership looks like. We know what how it feels to have a leader that doesn't practice empathy. We know how it feels when leaders have their own agenda and they don't think about the people that put them in their positions as leaders. So to say all that, I will say take some strong consideration of what we've gone through, what you've gone through, because maybe one day you'll have the same opportunity to be a leader, and you'll remember some of the decisions of our president. Or excuse me. Well, we can talk about him too if you want to. Our president, our governor, our mayor, our assemblywoman. Like they, I don't honestly, I don't. We're not going to get political today, but I don't believe that they believe half the stuff they're saying either. So it's just that's just me. I don't even think they're telling the truth. I think they know they're lying. So and most liars do. Most liars do. So anyways, that's my first little rant. I just got to get off my chest and move on to some bigger and better things. Okay, so here we go. So let's see if I can find it real quick online for you guys. There was a movie that has came out, and I think the movie is about 2 weeks old now. It's been in the theaters for 2 weeks, and it's causing massive, not massive, but a lot of people are having issues with this film, and I want to discuss it kind of in detail. And the only reason I want to discuss it because I find it very amusing. The film came out 2 weeks ago. The film is called Redeeming Love, and it is. I saw it. Actually, I'm gonna. For those of you guys who don't know this film or haven't heard of this film, I'm going to show you the trailer of it, and I want to show you the trailer. And before I tell you what I think of this and all this other stuff, so you know, the cast of Redeeming Love, you're gonna get a free plug from me because I'm gonna play your trailer. I'm gonna show you a trailer. Let me see, share screen. Make sure I get it up here. Here we go. So this is the trailer for Redeeming Love.
Told your mother I would take good care of you.
I love you more than anyone in this whole wide world.
Her mom was dead. She'll be better off here.
No, she won't.
What's her name? You can call her whatever you want. You'll be my little angel from now on.
Angel, how did you end up in this place? She doesn't talk about her past. You got any big plans? Plans? She can't keep me here. You forget where I found you, Missy. I made you a princess.
Feel the Power Ranger.
The only girls who leave here are too old, too sick to work, or dead.
I'm gonna kill you.
You are not hidden.
She's something to see, ain't she?
There's never been a moment you were forgotten.
That's Angel.
You are not hope.
No one gets within a foot of her for free.
I have to meet her.
What's your pleasure, mister?
I didn't come here for that.
I hear you whisper underneath your breath.
You're gonna marry me. Take me away from here. Give me the life I deserve. I've got too many demons. I don't know how to love.
You cannot choose the life you have, but you can choose the life you want.
He deserves a decent girl, not you.
Did you think I couldn't find you?
have to stop thinking that I'm gonna be something that I'm not.
That way is home. Your choice.
Okay, so here's the beef. So you've seen it, you saw the trailer. The movie's called Redeeming Love, and it's getting a little bit of some flack from all kind of angles actually. Um the Me Too movement is not too happy with the film, and I could see their point. And I'll get to that in a second. But the one I really want to talk about is Christian the Christian problem with it. A lot of Christians are trying. I haven't heard the word boycott yet. So if you've heard the word boycott, please, engage with me on the comments here. What One of the things that they've talked about was in the film, there's sensual scenes, right? And you can see it in the trailer. There's a couple of like, that's kind of sensual. And so they were saying that that was inappropriate for a Christian film and all this other stuff. So listen, I'm gonna give you my honest opinion because I was like, I heard things, and sometimes we do that. We listen to other people's talk about what something is, and we go, "Oh, what sex scenes? No, what inappropriate? No, I can't believe that mess is inappropriate." And then we ain't never seen the movie. So I was like, let me go see this film. So I go see the film. I saw it this afternoon, and because I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna talk about it to y'all," and I ain't seen it. And cause then I heard other people say, I've been watching other people that I watch comment on stuff, commentators, and they were like, "Well, I haven't seen the movie, but if it's a Christian film and they have this and this, and I don't." If you ain't seen the film, then don't make a video about it. Come on. So I went and I saw the film, and so I'm gonna tell you my honest review of the film. And the movie's called Redeeming Love. If you're not familiar with the story, it's a novel. It is based off of a novel. Okay, so let's make it clear. It's based off of a novel, and the novel is based loosely on the story of Jose in the Bible. And if you don't know the whole story of Jose, let me just tell you real quick. Jose, God called Jose to marry a woman named Gomer. Gomer was a prostitute. Okay, and the story is a lot about the redeeming love of Christ through Hosea for Gomer. Gomer was representing pretty much the body of Christ, or Israel. Actually, it was more Israelites than it was in the body of Christ. So that's what it represents, and how the love would never fail, never stop loving, never stop pursuing, and will always redeem Israel. So that's the basis of Hosea. So the writer of the novel takes that story and makes this novel off of it. Fast forward 2021, here we are, and this movie is now in theaters, and there are two sensual scenes to it. First of all, the movie's rated PG-13. Okay, so take what you will from that. It's rated PG-13, so I feel like it was accurately rated. I saw the movie, and I'm gonna tell you what, man. And this is coming from somebody who I don't like Christian movies. They're just so goofy, bro. They're just so goofy, and they're so weird, and they're just like cringy. They're cringy. A lot of them are cringy. I've seen a few. I've seen a few, and I'm not gonna, because my brothers and sisters in Christ really love them. They love those cinema work, and I don't like them at all. I can't stand them. They make my stomach hurt. That's how bad it is. So I'm not gonna really point out by title, but I have, Josiah loves them, Steph loves them, and I make fun of them, I don't make fun of them, I make fun of the film. And so I went in there thinking with my eyes, I'm like, okay, bro, you just put money in for this Christian film, go watch it. All right, what's up? And first of all, I'll tell you right now, it's not a Christian film. Okay. The director, I don't believe is Christian. I did some research, and the director doesn't seem to have a Christian following. There is one production company that has a ministry connection to it, kind of like they have a connection, but they're not necessarily the number one primary production company involved. So maybe that was just for ideals, and maybe, but it wasn't a Christian film, but it has Christian principles, and is based off of a film that's based off of the Bible. The movie was rather good. I found the movie very entertaining. I thought the storyline was great. I I'm kind of partial. There's certain things I look for in film, and when a film like this came out, when it was like you they base it off of the I guess we call it old west times. There's certain elements of that film, that genre that I like, and it had those elements. The characters were great. I thought that oh shoot, I thought the acting was phenomenal. Like, I don't know any of these names. They look familiar. Some people look familiar, like I've seen them before in other projects, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you a name. But every performance on this film was really good. I thought the performance was great. And I thought the story was good. I was engaged. It was one of those films where it ended and I was like, oh, it's we done? Oh wow. I watched 2 hours. It was 2 hours, 15 minutes of running time. And I was like, oh, I sat for 2 hours, 15 minutes. It felt like 30. It was a great story. Characters development was really good, very clear plot, and knowing the story Hosea. And it gave a lot of biblical references that weren't preachy that you have to know, right? So it was good. And Stephanie Hall just chimed in. Yeah, it was so good. I enjoyed it. I think Josiah told me that you watched it twice, Steph, but I found it very good. Now, let's talk about the sensual scenes in question. Now, if you're going to watch the movie and you hate spoilers, you may want to turn me down for a couple minutes. But it's very clear. It's everywhere on social media. This film has love scenes, and I think the love scenes after watching the film, understanding the movie, I do believe at um, I do believe at one point that love scene or sex scenes in films. Sex scenes, some are not necessary. I've seen movies where they have a sex scene. I was like, I think that I literally thought this. I think the director is just horny and just wants to see boobs. Like I've seen movies where it's that, and I'm like, yeah, he kind of just wants to see boobs. And so the sexual scene wasn't necessary, or something, or like a conversation that happens at a strip club, and we need to see the strippers before we see the conversation. Like those scenes are kind of like, okay, you just want boobs. It's clear and evident. For this film, it wasn't like that. One, it didn't show nudity. It was done in some great taste, man, and some great camera angles to leave stuff to the imagination. So I thought that was very powerful. The other thing I thought was cool was because it think about it, the story is about a prostitute who was sold in a sex slave and stuff like that. And so there's elements of that you're gonna put in the story. But the sex scene itself, to add context, right? You're talking about a character whose livelihood is just sex for money, right? She's a prostitute. She lives in a brothel. People give her money. Give Actually, they don't even give her the money. They give the house mother money to have sex with her, and she's in the middle of this exchange where she's not getting anything. She's just giving and not receiving anything. She's not receiving love, support, nothing like that. And so it's just a one-way street for her. So now everybody in her life is taken and taken and taken and taken and taking. And there's some great scenes in this film where she finally meets Hosea, Michael. His name is Michael Hosea, but I call him Hosea because that's who he is. He's Hosea from the Bible. Where she meets Michael, and Michael's basically like, listen, I know we're married, but I'm not gonna do this to you. I'm not gonna take from you. I'm just not. When we have sex, it's going to be real. It's going to be because you want to do it, because you want to share that intimate moment with me, not because you feel like this is how I give love, because that's how she's been trained to give love. So the sexual scene, I felt like it was necessary because it adds context to the progression of her character, because she's never had intimacy. She's just had sex. So the sensual scenes were for intimacy, to show her experiencing intimacy for the first time. And 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 that's what it was. It wasn't that. So then it showed that her experiencing that intimacy with her husband for the first time. So I don't feel like um yeah, that's right. And she always felt like she owed somebody, because every time he did something nice, she was like, well, I have to pay you back for this. And so then she tried to entice him. He was just like, no. And so to having those experiences. And then the second scene even has more context to it, which I don't want to ruin it for you because if you're going to watch it, that would ruin it. But my point is, I felt like people always say, well, you can do it. You can do it and not be sexual. I'm like, this is where my thing is, right? I had this thought today. We deal with a lot of cats who want to hold on, let me read this comment. That moment was so powerful. Her having sex for the first time where it was actually emotional. It was a great, I agree with you, Stephanie. I thought it was a really powerful scene and it was something that was really impactful. So I think it was a good scene. I thought it was a good movie. But my point is this. Here's my thing. I was thinking about this today and I'm tired. I don't know about you. You should be tired. If you're not tired, then you keep doing this. I'm tired of getting advice from people who don't do what you do. Right? Have you ever had that? You know, people give you advice and they don't do what you do. That's the worst kind of advice. Like, I don't like advice. I don't even give advice anymore. I've decided from this day, not this day, but a couple of days ago, from that day, a couple of days ago to now, I'm no longer giving advice. Because the reason I don't give advice is because, first of all, I don't like it when people ask me for advice and then I give you advice and then you don't take the advice. Why would you ask me for the advice if you were never going to take it in the first place? Don't ask me for advice. Second of all, I hate unsolicited advice. I don't like it. It just makes no sense. So, for example, I've had people give me advice that I didn't ask for, and then criticize the thing I was doing. So, some dude sends me an email probably about a year ago, trashing Superficially Deep. Superficially Deep is the show that I produce, and trashing it, and was like, "Yo, you need to do this, you need to do that." So then I kind of was like, "Well, what do you do?" So I literally asked, "What do you do? Have you done a television show?" Well, no, I just know how it should be done. How do you know how it should be done if you've never done it? Like, let's get over that, right? People are ridiculous. Stop coming at cats like you know how it should be done. So then somebody was like, "Yo, they could have easily have made that same kind of distinction in that film without having the sex scene." One, then the question was asked, did they watch the film? The answer was no. So you don't even know what you're talking about. Then here's my next question. Did you make a movie? Have you ever made a film? The answer, highly likely no. So then it's like, why would you ask questions? Why would you give unsolicited? There's nothing more ignorant. There's nothing on this earth more ignorant than unsolicited advice from an unprofessional. Right? There's nothing more ignorant than you telling me what I should do with my life and you ain't done nothing with yours. Right? It just drives me insane when people want to be like, I want, what if you did this? One time, I'm no lie, I'm working on a script one day. Dude who's never wrote a script looking over my shoulder, so I see you writing the script. I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. I was at Starbucks. And I said, "Yeah, I'm working on a script. Tell me about it." And I told him a little bit about the show, and he was like, "Oh, you know what you should do? Da, 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 da." Oh, do you write scripts? No, 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 no. I just something I've been thinking. What? Like, come on, what? You're giving me suggestions. First of all, we're strangers. I don't know this dude. This was at Starbucks. And he looks over my shoulder. He notices the format of what I'm writing, so he could tell it was a script. So he's like, "Oh, script writing?" I said, "Yeah." "Is that what you do?" "Yeah, this is one of the things I do. I do many things." "Oh, have you thought about doing it this way?" I told him what the story was about. I already shot like 6 episodes. He tells me, "Have you thought about telling the story this way?" I already did 6 episodes, bro. What you talking about? And on top of that, you haven't done it. You've never done it yourself. Why would you give me unsolicited advice when you haven't done it? And stuff like that. The problem is when we get caught up in that mix, and I know sometimes people mean well. I'm not saying that people don't mean well. People mean well. They mean well when they give you the advice, but at the same time, they're not at your level. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny how there's always somebody when you try to lose weight, there's always somebody bigger than you telling you how food work. Huh? What? Or, when you're trying to make money, there's always a broke person telling you what to do with your money. What? huh? Like, or you're trying to start a business, and somebody who has never got a business started and they're afraid to start a business want to tell you all the fears of starting a business. Why do we listen to people? Stop listening to losers. Stop listening to people who don't have any kind of inclination on how to do what you're doing. So in saying all that, I said that the thing that drives me the craziest about the film the most, and and as somebody who makes movies, I appreciate redeeming love. And it brings me to another point, and I'm going to get off my little. I'm gonna stop attacking Christian films because, you know, I technically make Christian films, I guess, and I do feel like there is a call to put together a better product. I do believe that I remember being in a conversation with some other filmmakers, and they were talking about what elements to put in your Christian film to make it marketable, right? Um, and one of the elements was if you have an animal in it, preferably a horse. Put the horse on the cover, and then like literally the conversation was literally going that way. You know, you get a horse, you put the horse on the cover, then you have a girl with the horse, and then make it a love story, and that's the biggest market for Christian films. Like what? You know, and so and I was told if you want to make it in this industry, you got to do it like this because this is how they're going to buy it. So even in the Christian film industry, it's a market in which they plan, they create, and they build up content, not to tell a story, but for you to give your dollar to it, right? And it's become just and there's a satire film out. I don't recommend you watch it if you're easily offended. It's called Faith Base, starring Jason Alexander and Tommy Barnett, not the pastor. I mean, sorry, not Tommy, Matthew Barnett, not the pastor, Matthew Barnett, but there's an actor named Matthew Barnett, which is why I ended up watching it because I was like, Matthew Barnett did this, okay, great, and I was like, this ain't Matthew Barnett, I know. So it's the actor. There's an actor named Matthew Barnett, not the pastor. Anyways, if you're easily offended, I suggest you don't watch this film. But it's a very satire on the faith-based film industry, and Heritage Park being a part of that, I looked at it and I thought to myself, they're mean, like this film is mean, but it's not inaccurate. You know, like Margaret Cho makes a line in the film where she said, "Your Christian film doesn't have to be." What does she say? It doesn't have to be bad. It just doesn't have to be good. And it's just it was just so the industry itself is kind of like I it's the cookie cutter. Everything looks the same. And the story is goofy. It shows us as goofy people, and I'm not a fan of it. But I will say lately I've seen two films that have been the one more so the other has had a lot of Christian people in the development of it, but it used secular money to get out, and they've both been really good. So one being Redeeming Love, which is what I saw today. Universal put their money up for it and they produced it. The other one was a movie that's on Netflix right now called A Week Away. And Netflix put the money up. This is a Netflix original. However, it's a Christian written script and starring Sherry Shepherd and some other I can't think of her name right now. Haley. I can't think of her name right now, but she was in the movie with Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler with Just Go With It, where she was the daughter. She's grown up. Anyways, the film was about youth camp, right? And I'll tell you what, man, and it was a musical. And if you were part of the One Way SYC days, or if you were part of the Masters Commission in the 90s, you have to watch A Week Away. Like, I'd never leave recommendations. Go to Netflix, watch A Week Away. It is pure nostalgia, and it's done so good. And it's a great Christian film that's done so tastefully, and it was Netflix's money involved in it. So I always look at the money behind the film. Who's getting paid for it? Who put the money up for the film? Like, who did this? Who's behind this stuff? That's how and unfortunately, when the world puts their money up for it, we get a better product. That's kind of weird, right? So you would think if the church put their money up, we would get a iconic product. But even going all the way back to Passion of the Christ was an Icon Pictures product that was put up money from, Hollywood put that money up for that film. So, but when we do it, we get these weird, and I'm not saying the movie's not bad. Like, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying we can tell a better story. We can do better. And Redeeming Love was a film where they told a really good story. A Week Away on Netflix. It's a really good story. So I feel like to me, this is for me and just our team. I felt like the bar was kind of raised on us. Like, yo, I challenge you. I felt like something was challenging me as I watched the film. I was challenged to go, let's go make a better story. Let's put together a better product. And I feel like there's so many stories. And I'm thinking like, man, we told a story of Hosea and it was so impactful to me. I thought it was a great story. And so then, we had this conversation. Unfortunately, we had to have this conversation about sex scenes in film. But you know how much of the Bible has erotica in it? Like, and I'm not trying to be that guy that says the Bible's is an erotic book. It's not an erotic book, but it has erotica in it. There's a lot of erotica in the Bible. Like, there's a whole book about erotica, Song of Solomon. It's very graphic and it's very, it's about erotic. It's about intimacy in a physical level and a spiritual level. Um, the the story Hosea is an erotic story. Um, Samson and Delilah. That's a very erotic story. It shows the fall of man. And erotica was the tool that made him fall. Um, Even with Jesus, when they brought him the woman that was caught in the act of adultery. Think about the statement that we always say. She's caught in the act of adultery. So like they literally waited for her to start having sex with a man and they grabbed her and brought her to Jesus to kill her. Now, put that in your head. She didn't have time to dress. She didn't have time to prepare herself. She's caught in the act. So that means she's naked and they throw her at Jesus' feet. That's pretty erotic. Like, so the Bible doesn't pull punches on stuff like that. Even in the Bible, that when they're talking about and he laid with her, and then or the songs, not the song, Sodom and Gomorrah was an erotic city, and so all Nineveh was an erotic city. There's a lot of erotica in the scriptures when we talk about Rebecca and Leah. That was an erotic story. There is erotica in the story, so we can't look past it. And I think there's got to be a point where we have to be real in our ministries and our groups and our churches to say, listen, this is a real part of society. Like, we can't act like sex isn't part of society. It's there. And I feel like it gets to the point where we put artists and entertainment on such a high level that they should replace any kind of teaching and messaging. All it does is give us visualization of a story that they want to tell. Like, I don't think the artist is required to follow any kind of guidelines to be accurate or or right. That it sounds kind of like heretic to say, but I don't think that they should have that cover. I don't think that, because then now where do we stop by saying our artists and our filmmakers and our storytellers and our poets and all these people, they should be telling the story from the God perspective and making sure that it's biblically sound. Well, that means that our artists and our filmmakers and all this other stuff should go to biblical college to sit underneath somebody else for a long period of time. We don't want that from them. We just want to be entertained. And I think people forget that concept. Like, yo, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to be told the story. And if the story makes you think and the story is good, then great. If the story's not good, guess what, bro? You don't have to watch it. Like, I'm not telling you to watch Redeeming Love. I'm not telling you should watch A Week Away. But I'm saying, like, you have the choice to not go there, to not even be part of it. And so to be part of the conversation and not seen the film, that's ridiculous. Why would you do that? Why would you show your ignorance like that? We did the same thing with Cuties. I didn't have the conversation about Cuties because I didn't watch the film, because I make the conscious choice of what I take in. I make the choice of what I watch. Like, no one forced me to watch anything. I just like, no, I'm not going to watch this. I'm not going to watch a 13-year-old girl dressed like this. I'm not gonna watch this. But I make the same decision when it goes, yo, did you see Cardi B's new music video? No, I didn't see Cardi B's music. Did you see Lil Nas X music video? I got what you're looking for. No, I didn't see that. Why would I watch that? I'm not interested in that. So you don't have to take in everything. And there's a scripture that clearly tells us, there's a scripture that says, it's not what comes in that makes you unclean, or it's what comes out. And it's not what I take in that makes me unclean. It's what comes out of me that defines me. So I'm not defined by my intake. I'm defined by what I produce. I'm defined by what comes out of me. So in all actuality, like if that's what you want, if you're really offended by it, then don't take it in, because it in your mind it may actually develop and come out. But I'll ask you this question: the person who's making a lot of fuss about two sensual scenes that didn't show any nudity, are you willing to put up your browser history to match your words? Are you willing to show the world what you've been looking at when no one's around on your social media page? Are you willing to let people into your followers list, the people who you follow on Instagram? So there's not one IG girl on there. There's not one topless dude on there that's always naked in his pictures. There's not one thing you've searched that you're ashamed of. There's not one video that you haven't looked at. If that's you go ahead, cast the first stone. Cast the first stone. But if you have, then I think you need to mind your P's and Q's. That's a free one right there. Just because we don't have time anymore. We don't have time, and we don't have the ability to deal with people sitting on their soapboxes telling the world how they should live, and they can't match it up in their own world. Right? So all in all, the movie was well put together. It was a good movie. Will I watch it again? If it came on a streaming network, it's passable, I'd watch it again. I don't find it to be a Christian film. There's a lot of language, perversive language in there. Again, that's not to say that you shouldn't watch it. It's a PG-13 movie because of language and sensuality. So but it was a good story. It's a good story. It's a true story. It's a true story from the biblical perspective. It's true to what happened in the Bible. I don't know the liberties were taken because I wasn't there with Hosea, and I don't truly know that story well enough to make that reference. But I know what happened. I know the basics of the situation with Hosea, and I can tell you that this story did a lot of justice to that book. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And the other thing too is I think people forget that there's nudity in movies. Like there's sex scenes in movies. I think the fact that we're thinking it's a Christian film because it brings up a Christian topic, it brings up a Christian topic. I don't know if it's a Christian film. God is prevalent in the story. The Bible is evident. Prayer is evident. It's there, and it plays a very strong role in the film. So I'll say that. But I think we forget. Like I was just talking to my pastor friend, Pastor Michael, and he was talking about how we forget that the movies we used to watch when we were younger weren't that great either. Because I remember this last weekend, I was chilling, finished doing some homework, and I was like, I'm gonna turn the TV on, veg for a minute. Had the Hulu app, and I was like, yo, Beverly Hills Cop is on Hulu. Okay, Beverly Hills Cop, and for all my Beverly Hills Cop friends or people who are fans of that, shout out. So I watched Beverly Hills Cop, and I forgot there's nudity in it, and I was like, why are they having it? Why am I seeing somebody's boobs? And I was like, I completely gapped that this movie had boobs in it. And then listening to some of the language, I was like, hi, my virgin ears, man. It's a F you every line. And I was like, did they change this movie? No, then it hit me. This movie's always been like this. It's just I was just a different person then. And I didn't think about those things. And it's funny how you watch movies today and you go, "Ugh, that wouldn't pass today in 2022. It definitely wouldn't pass." So there was a couple scenes in this movie that I felt like needed to be in the film because it adds context to that time and adds context to Hosea. But even then, I was like, "Ugh, there's certain groups of people that are not gonna like that." And I don't want to get into that. I want to get into this last story. This is a heartbreaker. So on Sunday. Let me pull up my notes because I want to make sure I get this down right. Chelsea Christ. She was a She worked at Extra as a correspondent. She was Miss USA 2019. Unfortunately, tragically killed herself. She jumped from a high rise in New York Sunday night. This is a sad, sad story. Um, from the outside looking in, I don't know her personally, but I've seen her on Extra. I watch Extra a lot, but I've seen her on Extra. Familiar with her face because I've seen her. She's a correspondent, and I used to watch a lot of the Miss USA's. So there's no need to get into that. But this woman, she killed herself at 30 years old. She jumped off of a high rise and she committed suicide. And it's what's baffling to me, and you never know. And the reason I'm really so passionate about being kind to each other and loving each other and not being such a complete dickhead to each other, because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what silent cries. I remember my old pastor Diego preached a message, and I thought about this message yesterday: secret wounds and silent cries. And as somebody who suffers in silence with mental illness, this is a real thing, man. It's more than, hey, somebody once told me you just need to start being happy. Oh, okay. If I can make it happen, I'll do it. There's more times than not. And I'm just going, like I was earlier in this podcast, I'm gonna be real right now. There's more times than not I'm very unhappy. I'm very I struggle with mental health. I do. I struggle with purpose. I struggle with depression, and it's a constant thing. This is not like, oh, I'm having a depressed time. I think daily, and I do my work. So I don't want you to think that I'm not doing my work. I go to therapy. I'm a black man that does therapy, and I think that there should be many other black men who should go to therapy. But I do my work. I go to therapy. I read my books. I have quiet time with God. I do a lot of prayer, and I have a lot of faith, and I fight through praise, and I fight it every damn day. And the one of the things that I've learned is that, and I'm learning, is that, wow, I'm not the only one who struggles, you know? And I see this story and my heart breaks because from the outside looking in, I don't understand. I couldn't understand why she would do this to herself. Um, just she I, let me just read some of her accomplishments. So in 2019 she was crowned Miss USA 2019. She was top 10 Miss Universe 2019. Also, I want to point out in 2019, it's important to point out that for the first time in history, that all five, I think it was Miss Teen USA, Miss America, Miss Universe, and I can't think of the fifth one. Maybe it was four, but all those were crowned Black African American women, which was the first time ever. So 2019, the African American woman had taken the crown at each one of the major pageants. So that's huge. So she's one of that. She's one of that group. So she was Universe. She was Miss USA in 2019, top 10 Miss Universe 2019. She graduated from Columbia, South Carolina. She to attend she moved to Columbia, I'm sorry, after graduating high school to attend um, the honors college at the University of South Carolina. So she went to university. She graduated cum laude from Darla Moore School of Business with a degree of marketing and human resource management. So she has a degree in marketing and human resource management. She also is a lawyer. She was part of the Honor Society, the Alpha Lambda Delta Honor Society. She was also track and field champion, and she went to Wake Forest University School of Law, and she graduated with a Juris Doctor and a Master of Business Administration. So she's a highly successful, she and she works as a correspondent for Extra, and she was also doing work. Also was doing some research. She was doing pro bono work in the jail system in New York, helping people who had. I'm trying to think of the word, but people whose sentences was too long, and for whatever reason, so she was doing pro bono work with people in the prison system to get their um if they were given time that was exaggerated, she would work to get it reduced. So she was doing work in the community. She was on TV. She was working with extra. She had, from the outside looking in, she had the perfect life, in which is heartbreaking because you never. With that being said, you don't know what people are going through. Because the amount of people, if COVID didn't teach us anything, it taught us that people have a lot of stuff going on in their head and they suffer in silence. And we hear story after story after story of like Robin Williams or this is Anderson Cooper. I think this, or not Anderson Cooper. You know what I'm talking about, the guy who killed himself. Um, not Cooper, but the guy who killed himself, and he was like Bourdain, Anthony Bourdain. All these wonderful people who we looked at and was like, yo, what a great life. This dude had a great life. And they were ending their lives because they were suffering in silence. And it's just like it's I think about I had a friend, actually he was not a friend. He was in my youth group and he killed himself. He tied a dumbbell to his ankle and threw himself in his dad's pool. And for so many years, like there was this it didn't seem like there was anything wrong with this guy. I thought he was just a happy person, and it turns out that he wasn't happy at all. And so you gotta do stuff. You have to be more mindful. Ephesians talks about bringing peace and love to every person that you come across. In Ephesians, it talks about that. You don't know what people are struggling with when you're snapping at people because they're not driving fast enough on the freeway, and the speed limit's 70 and they're doing 80, and that's not fast enough for you, so you have to pass them up and give them the finger as you pass while you're listening to your reckless Christian music. Like, i I want you to kind of process, like, people are going through stuff like right now, and everyone's got a battle. And if you ask certain people, like, how are you doing it, they'll probably break down and cry and start telling you, because w- I could tell you from my personal experience, sometimes we don't know how to handle things. Sometimes it's bubbling and it's to the surface, and we want to share, but we're afraid to be judged. We're afraid to be ridiculed. I'll tell you what, there's some things I want to talk about on this podcast, or there's things I want to talk about with my church, Heritage Grace Church, and I don't talk about it because I'm afraid to be ridiculed. There's things that I feel like I should be celebrating, and I can't celebrate it because I'm afraid people will judge me. It's things I want to say, and I'm always, I'm just gonna be real honest with you. Sometimes I just don't trust people because people, we've given people the right to be buttheads now, instead of giving people. There's no empathy. There's no apathy. There's nothing in the world anymore, and so I think God is looking for people to be that heartbeat. You know, I remember Dave Chappelle once said, in his podcast, he said, "How do you encourage somebody to live? How do you encourage somebody to not take their life? How do you convince somebody that life is worth living?" And I think if we stop thinking about ourselves, and if we trust in God, knowing that God will meet all our needs, and God will meet us where we're at, and God will take care of everything we're going through. God will answer our prayers. And if we have faith at that level, we can experience so much more of God, that we can help somebody like Chelsea. Maybe somebody could have helped her. I don't know. Maybe somebody could help Robin Williams, man. Like, the joy can you imagine the joy that Robin Williams brought to so many people, but he couldn't find joy in himself. He couldn't be happy himself. Anthony Bourdain, like, wow. Like, he lived a life that so many people thought that they wanted. He was a world chef. He had his own show on the Food Network. Traveled to these wonderful places. He traveled to Italy and got to eat cuisine from that country. He traveled he was all over the place. He traveled, and he knew he was into the fine things, and yet he couldn't meet that empty void. It's very it's very sad, is what it is. So the morning of her passing, let me see if I can find this picture. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find a picture of her. She posted on Chelsea. This is Chelsea Christ. And forgive me if I'm saying her name wrong. But she posted a picture on her Instagram. This is the morning of So this is Sunday. She committed suicide. The morning of, she posted this on her Instagram page. Yo, where is it at? Hold on, I'm trying to find it. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find it. I thought I had it. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up right now. But it's very sad. Like I said, it's a very sad story. It's a very sad situation. And my heart grieves on this whole thing because when you see somebody who kills himself, and I think it's sad to say, but could it possibly be that at this point in our lives that everyone probably knows somebody who has killed themselves? And we always think about, like, what could I have done to stop that? Now, I can't think about that with this young lady because I don't know her. Um, but her family's in grief, family's mourning, and there's nothing worse than having a family member pass and you just like, dude, what could I have done to stop this? How was I so focused on myself that I didn't notice that she needed help? Um, Trying to find her IG page. Give me 1 second. Here it is. Okay. I hate when things don't work for me. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'll just have to tell you. There's a picture of her on their Instagram page, and I'm looking at it now, and like I said, tragic. It's a picture of her. Um, she's a very beautiful woman, and the picture basically says, and I think she's talking to herself, and then the picture, if you pull it up, Chelsea Chris, it's a picture of her, and it says in the caption, "May this day bring you rest and peace." So that was her last post, and that was Sunday morning. She passed away later on that day. So it was a beautiful picture of her, and it said, "May this day bring you rest and peace." And she, it, if she was talking to herself, this is heartbreaking. If she was talking to us, still heartbreaking. This is something that you wish that people didn't have to deal with, you know. Um, So if you're there, if you're listening to me, I'm not Joe Rogan. I don't have hundreds of millions of people listening to me, and as much as I wish I did, but I don't. Um, Sometimes my podcast reaches 17 people. Sometimes it reaches 7. Sometimes it reaches 100. Sometimes it reaches nobody. But I feel like the important thing is to stay consistent and keep doing it. And I'm gonna put up the suicide number right now because I feel like if you're if you're struggling, I want you to call this number. This is the suicide hotline. It's right below me. 800-273-8255. There's even a way you can text, and all you had to do is I'm sorry, I don't know that one. I think if you write the word, I don't know the chat number. There's a text number. But call that number, man. If you're struggling, call that number. Talk to somebody, man. You don't have to suffer alone, and you don't have to suffer in silence. And there's people who care. It's hard. Listen. I know it's hard to find people who care nowadays. It's hard to find people who care for you, and it's hard to find people who genuinely don't want nothing from you. Like, listen, my phone rings maybe 20 times a day. and 19 times it's somebody wanting something, right? So I get that. But there's nothing more valuable than you. And it doesn't do the Father any pleasure to in your life. And I don't care how bad it gets. And this is from somebody who suffers with you. Every day that it gets hard for me, I have to find a reason why to keep going. And I got little girls, man. Little girls. Babies to I got little girls. I got my kids. They're the ones that keep me going every day. And if I didn't have them, I'm pretty sure I could find something else. I have a community, a wonderful community that calls me to check on me. I have great friends. You know, just keep yourself in the game. Okay? Don't hurt yourself. Don't do anything drastic and just keep fighting, man. Right? There's always a better tomorrow. All right? Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Epic Thoughts, man. Go to heritageparkprod.com to get more information. We have a lot of cool things happening. We have our stores getting updated. And if those of you who are willing to help Heritage Park and want to donate money, any money you give will be used to extend the kingdom of God through the Heritage Park community, and your gift will be tax deductible. So you can call us at 848-207-2631 to join the Heritage Park hotline. But and if you need prayer, if you need to talk to me, man, you can find me. Just come check out Ramon on IG, and we're not hard to find. We're not hard to find. But stay blessed, guys. Stay strong. I love you guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.